Syncing data into your messaging system has always been harder than it needs to be. Between users, their custom properties, and accounts, you end up with a lot of glue code whose only purpose is to keep data in sync across your tools. But Knock Data Sources makes that glue code a thing of the past by letting you connect popular tools directly to your messaging flows. In this video, I want to show you how data sources work with the Clerk user management platform and how you can build a multi-tenant B2B SaaS notification system in less than 20 minutes using some of the built-in components from both Knock and Clerk. So let's go. Okay, so to get started, I'm in the Knock dashboard and I have the sources menu open. And this is basically just a blank Knock account. Then I also have a pretty blank Clerk account. And then I have my B2B SaaS app that we'll use to complete these steps. So the first thing that I'm going to do is create the data source link between Knock and Clerk. And so to do that, in the sources menu, I'm just going to click on Clerk. And here you can see that the default Clerk data source template comes pre-configured with some event action mappings for common user and organization events. And I'm just going to go ahead and click Connect to walk us through the next several steps. From here, I'm going to copy this URL to this endpoint. And we'll come over into the Clerk dashboard and go to Configure, Developers, Webhooks, and then click Add Endpoint. Give it a quick description, and then we'll want to choose which events that we're going to subscribe to. So do user and organization, and then we'll go ahead and click Create. And while we're still in the Clerk dashboard, let's go ahead and send a test event over to Knock, and we'll say we want to send a test user created event, and that'll give us a test payload here. And then we can click Send Example. And if we hop back into Knock, we can see that Knock has successfully received that event on that endpoint, and then we can click Continue. So here we're going to want to scroll up in the Clerk dashboard and open up this Signing Secret tab. So that we can secure our webhook endpoint. And we'll go ahead and place that as the default and the development value. And then we'll go ahead and just click View Mappings. And here you can see that there are already a few mappings created. And if we navigate to Logs, we'll see that that test user created event that we sent already from Clerk failed verification, so it didn't do anything. So now that we have the Knock and Clerk connection established, let's use the Knock agent really quick to create a welcome email sequence that we can trigger whenever that new user is created. So I'm going to come out here to the Agents tab, and we'll go ahead and specify a prompt that is, can you create me a new workflow for a B2B SaaS app called Collab.io that welcomes a new user to the application? It should first have an in-app message step, then a 3-minute delay, and then last, let's follow up with an email. And you can go ahead and just make all of the templates for the messages pretty basic. So we'll go ahead and just double check our prompt, send an in-app message, wait 3 minutes, follow up with an email, pretty basic templates. So let's go ahead and kick this off with the Knock agent. And the Knock agent is actually a newer release, and it allows you to work across all of the different resources in Knock using this built-in agent. Now we also have a CLI and management API, so you could use AI inside of Cursor or Claude Code or some other external IDE to work with those resources in code. But we also have this built-in agent who's been live for a few weeks to let you do stuff directly in the dashboard. And you can access the agent either through the Agents tab directly, or there are panes or floating agent, chatbot interfaces wherever you can manage these resources. So now it's gone ahead and created us a workflow. So let's go ahead and see that. And then you can see, kind of this floating agent pane in action. And let's go ahead and pin it over there to the left. Cool. And so let's go ahead and just check out our steps real quick. So we've got our in-app message, and obviously that looks pretty basic. We're just welcoming the user to Collab.io. And then the email hopefully should be something pretty similar. Okay, so cool. Here's what you can do next. Invite your team, create your first project, and explore integrations. All right, all that looks awesome. So let's go ahead and commit this workflow so that we can use it in our event action mapping. So we'll commit this and then head back out to sources, and let's come back into our Clerk source. So what we're going to want to do is create a new mapping. Then we're going to select event, user created, and trigger a workflow will be our action. And then we'll go ahead and trigger this welcome to Collab.io workflow. And then what we're going to need to do is just point this request at an ID for the recipient. So that should be body.data.id. And then we'll also need to just pass in some payload data. So we'll do just body.data. And then we'll go ahead and click Save Changes. And now over here in our mappings, this is calling out that we actually also need to make a change to the workflow as well. And what we're going to do here is just change its trigger type. By default, this is an API trigger, but now we're using an event action mapping trigger. So we'll go ahead and just say update trigger, and we'll commit that to development. Cool. So now that that's running, let's head back into sources real quick, and we'll just pre-open up our logs. But then let's actually head back out to the Collab.io app, and let's create a new user and a new org, and then see how that triggers stuff in Knock. So we'll go ahead and click sign up, and then I'll create a new account. We'll just use my Knock Gmail, and then click continue. And then this should punt me through to the dashboard, where boom, we see that we get our in-app notification. So that means that behind the scenes, our workflow triggered like we expected it to. And then let's go ahead and create an organization. So we'll create this and call this Engine Corp, and click create. Cool. And then let's hop back into Knock and just take a look at the logs. Cool. And we can see that we successfully fired these mappings for a user.created event. And we did both. So here's the incoming event. Here's the identify user call that happened, and then the trigger workflow that happened after that, and the workflow runs. So all of this is very debuggable and observable, which is awesome. And we can also see that we created this tenant. So while we're waiting for our email, let's look at some of the other ways Knock and Clerk can help you build out a full multi-tenant SaaS notification system using Clerk's user profile and organization profile components. So by extending those and then combining them with Knock's Slack hit components and our preferences React hooks, you get some really powerful features very quickly. So over here in Collab.io, if we open up this user profile, which is a component managed by Clerk, what we can do here is actually extend this component. And so let's hop into Cursor and take a look at that. So we can see here that we're using the user button from Clerk, and that we're using this user profile page child component to create a new page where we can host our notification preferences. And so that looks like this. If we click manage account, we have this extra menu option down here where we get this preferences menu. And so say if we wanted to disable in-app notifications, we can go ahead and toggle that. And then if we come over to users and click into our users and look at their preferences, there we can see that that change was reflected in their preference set. You can create some really detailed preferences here that correspond to either channel types, workflows, categories of workflows, or really specific preference conditions. So a lot you can do here. But that's not all that we can do, right? So we can manage user data here using the user profile. We can also manage org level data. And so one of the things that Knock provides is a suite called Slack Kit, which helps you create multi-tenant sort of B2B SaaS integrations really quickly. And so if we click into our organization component and then click manage here, we'll see what that looks like if we click into Slack. So let's hop into Cursor real quick and look at that code. And so this is actually hosted as a Next.js page instead of just a part of that component. And the reason is when we go through the Slack OAuth process, we need a specific URL to redirect the user back to. But here you can see we're using that organizational profile component from Clerk, and then using organizational profile.page child component to basically host Knock's Slack auth container and Slack auth button components. So cool, let's actually hop back into the browser and show how that works. So here I can click connect to Slack, and then this is going to take me through the entire Slack OAuth process. And I'll click my test account and click allow. Cool, and I get redirected here. Now we can see that this is connected. But if I hop back out into Knock and go and look at my tenants channel data, we can see there that we're storing this access token that we can use to send downstream requests to Slack. So let's go ahead and do just that. And let's create a new project, and we'll call this Dino Research. And we'll click create. And then from here, we get an option to use one more of Knock's Slack kit components, and this is a channel picker. And so we can go ahead and click projects to create a connection to that particular Slack channel. And then let me bring Slack over and then we'll fire off this test. So cool. Now that I have my test Slack workspace open to the projects channel, let's go ahead and just click this send test to Slack button. And then we should see a new comment message pop up here. Cool. And that's just test. We've hard coded that on the back end, but obviously you could, use a workflow in Knock to create your own Slack integration. And it's really powerful because it's just a couple of drop-in components, and then Knock handles all of the OAuth for you. So I think there's probably one thing that we want to do just to close the loop on our notification channels, and that's just check in on our email. And so if we hop over into Gmail, we can see that this is the email that got generated as a part of our Welcome to Collab.io workflow. And you can see it there. So awesome. Now we have a fully featured SaaS notification system complete with multi-tenancy, user preferences, and a Slack integration without writing really any custom code, all in less than 20 minutes. Part of what made that possible is Knock's flexible data sources, which help you integrate with Clerk and a bunch of other popular providers like Supabase, PostHog, and WorkOS. You can even create your own custom source as long as it can send HTTP requests. So check it out and let us know what you think. Thanks for watching, and Knock on.